What's good, y'all? I got y'all sitting up on the canister. Listen, I finally got the chance to check out this other movie that Aaron Pierre was in called Brother. It came out a few years ago. It starred him alongside the actress who played, I know her last name is Blake, but she played on How to Get Away with Murder. She was Sam's ex-wife, and she was oh my God, Forrest Rocks used to call his character Gorgeous Gabe. Is that what she called him? So his name must have been Gabe on the show, but Rome Flynn. She was Rome Flynn's mother, and she was also I guess Viola Davis's husband, Sam, his ex-wife, I believe. But she also, most recently, I remember her. I happened to watch that movie where Samuel L. Jackson is in the wheelchair, but he's super smart and something wrong with his bones. She was his mother in that movie. And it had the white guy who he had the split personalities or whatever. That lady that played Samuel Jackson's mother in that movie, and she also played in The Photograph. She was Issa Rae's character. She was Issa Rae's character. She was her grandmother. She was the mother at the beginning, telling her daughter she needed to figure out something to do. She had a man coming over, whatever. Like, she wasn't a really good example, a real good example of a mother in that movie to me. But anywho, she's a Jamaican immigrant in Canada, in some small township in Canada. She got two boys, Francis and Mike. I feel like I heard something. But anywho, her sons Francis and Mike, she been raising them. Their father left at some point. Mike don't even remember them having a father at all. She's working as a nurse in the hospitals and stuff. This movie is set in the 90s, right? Francis had to take on, Francis is played by Aaron. And the other young man, I think his name Lamar something in real life, but he's played in Your Honor. He was Kofi in Your Honor, who got beat and killed in prison by Jimmy Baxter's son. Because they thought he killed the little brother on a motorbike, but he actually didn't kill him. He just was getting rid of the car. He also played in The Hate You Give. He was the brother in The Hate You Give, and he had a different mother from the little girls. But he's a good actor too. But anywho, in this movie, it's like super slow and super sad. So basically, the boy's being raised by a single mother. She's doing everything she can to not make her boys a statistic. She's trying to give them a better life by living in Canada. I want to say, I feel like something tragic happened in Jamaica, but they just didn't delve into whatever happened on the island, okay? Francis is in his senior year. He decided maybe a couple months before graduation, he decided he was dropping out. He was going to move and like try to go to California or something to make something like. He wanted to do something with music. He was really into music. He was listening to like vinyl records all the time with his headphones in. He was big. He was tough. Nobody effed with him. Whereas Mike was scary and timid, and so people would F with him. So there was a lot of instances where Francis was sticking up for his younger brother. Mike also had a crush on his girl. I think her name was Aisha. Aisha looked to be biracial. Her father was from the islands as well, and him and another lady who worked at somebody's property, they got together, started dating, they had her, and then I think the mother took off. I don't think she died. I think she took off. So, the movie kind of like flips back and forth from present day to past day. So, at the beginning of the movie, we see Francis and Mike walk into one of them power towers. And he coaching him on how to climb the tower. He said, just follow me, I'm going to show you. So we see them climb the tower, and then as they start to ascend the tower, it goes back to the past when they was kids and stuff like that. And we see how their mother, she makes the punch for them to drink, sets their dinner out, lets them sit and eat and everything. And then she leaves out and goes to work at night, overnight. and tells them don't get in trouble, like don't leave the house and all that kind of stuff. And we see as soon as she leave, not long after she leave, the boys go on to eat. But one day we see them, Francis tell Mike come on, and they actually go out and see what's going on outside. So they go to the store, and that's where Mike first sees Aisha with her father. For some reason, I don't know if I got the two girls confused because it was Aisha and then there was another girl in the movie. And I could have sworn that one of them had a crush on Francis, but we never seen Francis like talk back to the girl or do anything with the girl. Okay? So Francis got like it's some boys they got like gangs. They live in the projects and it's not a good area. So at some point after they leave out when they were little kids, they probably was like maybe like 8 and 10 or 8 and 12, something like that. Because it was a few years between Francis and Mike. Maybe only 2 years or so, 2, 3 years or so. But anyway, they come home and when they look on the news and they see that a man robbed this corner store, whatever, one of the stores that they probably went to, and they was looking for this man. He killed the store clerk or whatever. And we see where the mother will come and get in the bed, and Francis come and say, Mike's scared. And she'd be like, y'all can come get in the bed with me. I truly believe, as the movie went on and we saw several instances where Francis would go to the mom and say, Mike's scared, I was like, it's not really Mike. Mike not saying nothing. It's really Francis who's afraid. That's what I thought. But he had to be the man of the house as a small kid from an early age or whatever, right? So he took on the responsibility of taking care of the mother when she come home, like running a foot soak for her. And at some point, he started being the one that's cooking, putting the plates together, taking care of the little brother, looking out for the little brother. It was just like a lot on him. So at one scene, we see that Mike was on his way to school, I believe. And it's a group of boys, like I said, they bad. They like in a gang. And they all saying something slick to him. And Francis had to come and get them off of his back. So they left him alone. And then we see another scene where Mike was going home from school. And that same boy that was a bully, him and his friends was beating the hell out this one boy. They told him, you don't belong over here. You're not from here, whatever. And they stomped him out real bad. And went Mike went over to help the boy once they left him alone. And the boy turned around, mouth all bloody, teeth missing, screaming and laughing, like hysterical laughing, like I lost my mind laughing. And at some point, him and Aisha start meeting up, listening to music. It's a point where they sitting in the room listening to music. By this time, Francis then dropped out of school. The mother is mad. She finds out he dropped out. She slaps his face. And he drops out and ends up working a job at like a Lowe's. It was something like a Lowe's or whatever. Sweeping up behind people and stuff like that. People being nasty and rude. After he swept the pile, they walking through it, splattering the stuff back out on the floor. So he come home and he catches Mike and the girl in the room, but they not doing nothing. They just sitting on the floor, literally listen to the records. And at this point, I was like, Aisha got a crush on Francis, I think. But he ain't do nothing with her or anything. Like, he just left. He told the brother to open the door and all that kind of stuff like that. Because they had the door closed. So, some time go past and we start seeing the future. In the future, we see Mike walk past that same electrical tower and that him and Francis was climbing. And at this point, I'm like, something that happened to Francis, but what? And he goes and he meets up with Aisha. It's some years they grown now, so it's probably like 10 years later. So I'm guessing they about 24 years old or so, 23, 24, no older than 25, I believe. And he takes her home to his house. Apparently, she moved away at some point, her and her dad, because she was being raised by her father. So she was she moved away. Her father has died, and Mike offered her to come and stay at the house with him and his mother and grieve and just see the whole old neighborhood. They go to the house. At this point, the mother don't do anything anymore. She stares at the wall, not saying nothing. Aisha, some time passed. They talk about stuff in the past. Aisha wants to have a get together with everybody and invite all these different people over. And Mike is like, no, do you see the state my mother is in? No, she won't be able to handle it. But in truth, I feel like he can't handle it. He don't want to bring up the old memories and stuff like that. So we do see a scene where the mother is in the room calling, asking, I don't know who she calling, but she asking something about Francis. And he come in, he catch her, he take the phone from her, and she just bust out crying and stuff, right? So when we go back into the past, we see Francis and Mike go for a walk. It was this certain area that they used to go walk down at when they were little. It was like by a ravine, like by a water stream, rocks and stuff like that. The mother used to take them down there and have like picnics with them down by the water when they was kids. So they kept the tradition and would go down there and sometimes just have heart to hearts and talks and stuff like that with each other. So this particular day, they go down there and they talk, and then Francis reveals to Mike that he's leaving sooner rather than later. He got his money saved up. He will be gone. When they was on their way down there, they saw and walked past the guy that had got jumped by the gang. But they kept going. They Francis was like, mind your business, let's go. So they went down there. But when they came back, they was down at the they were at one end of the parking lot, and the people was down the street, and that's when the shots rang out and they got to shooting because they was out there when it happened, and they ducked to avoid getting hit by the gunfire, but they was accosted by the police like, we taking y'all in for questioning or whatever. So when they ended up coming home in a police car, that pissed their mother off. Everybody in the community in the projects is outside watching. At this point, Aisha and her dad is out there. Aisha's father is like, I don't want you hanging around that boy no more. He trouble. And it was like, but they ain't even do nothing. So, their mother, she was upset about it. Her and Francis got into it. She slapped Francis. And at this point, Francis packed his bag and he left and he never came back home. In that shootout, that boy that was the bully and the gang member, he was murdered, but also one of the shots went into the window of an apartment and killed this little girl. And the little girl that was killed was a little Indian little girl. When we saw at one point when Francis was coming home from work, he stopped to help reset her brakes on her bike. Reset the chain on her bike. And that little girl was murdered from those gunshots or whatever. So Francis leaves. So I'm like, well, where did he go? But as the movie go on, we see that Francis used to always go and hang at the barbershop. And he had a best friend. The best friend name was Jelly. Jelly is played by Lavelle. I forget his last name, but Lavelle plays Drew Tejada on Power Book 2 Ghosts. And we see it's a few times they have different events at like in the back of the barbershop, they making music. And Jelly was a DJ. He liked to mix. And this is when hip hop was first starting getting big, and they looking for DJs and stuff. So this DJ competition is coming. So Jelly's preparing to enter into that. And Francis got all his hopes and dreams riding on this. At one point, we see where Francis, it's like they keep getting accosted by the police, keep getting pulled over. You fit the description, you fit the description. The police coming up into the barbershop, holding everybody up, talking about they fit the description and all that kind of stuff. And he getting sick and tired of it. So they have a party at the barbershop and all that kind of stuff. And the police come and accost them there and then leaves them alone. Jelly get his chance to audition and he auditions. And the people are so dismissive and told him to leave. And when they get outside, Francis is upset about it because he got all his hopes and dreams riding on this is his way out of this bad neighborhood. He want to leave. Like he's been walking around with a mask of I'm big and strong, but deep down inside, he is in fear of succumbing to all the ills of this community. So he makes up in his mind. He like, no, we ain't taking no for an answer. So him, Mike, Lavelle, and somebody else, the other guy that was at the barbershop with them, they all go back up to the bouncer and was like, no, we got something we gotta say, something. This is Francis doing the talking. And they Francis punched the security guard. And them security guard people beat the crap out of them. They barely make it to the house. Jelly goes to wherever he stay, and Francis and Mike end up back in the house. Their mother goes to the bathroom. She like, what happened? What happened? And the mother goes to the bathroom to get stuff to fix him up. He leaves out, and starts to go back to the barbershop because I think that was his first time back in the house since he had the argument with her and left. So he goes back to the barbershop with Jelly. I guess they live in the back of the barbershop. I don't know how Francis is making money, but some kind of way he's been making money and sending money back to the mother and groceries and stuff like that. But at this point, he's all beat up and ill. And well, no, this forget that. That scene happens later. In the middle of the movie, at some point, after him and the mother get into it, and he leaves the house for good. When he gets there to Jelly, we see him just sitting there angry. And Jelly like, what's wrong? And do you see him go behind Francis and like lean Francis' head back on his chest, put his hand on down Francis' chest like this. It looks like he goes down his pants and is rubbing. So at this point, we find out that Jelly and Francis are in a relationship. That's why we never saw Francis messing with any of the girls or whatever. So I said, oh, okay. Um, Francis is telling. Francis meets up with Mike at some point, and they go to this place. They eat. They go to the market and get some things for the house. They go sit down and eat, and he's telling Mike, at some time in life, you gotta use your voice. You cannot keep walking around letting people tell you what you are, what you aren't, and all that kind of stuff, and just talk to you any kind of way. You gotta stand up for yourself at some point. I want you to do that. And he's just like, okay, okay. Meanwhile, present day, Aisha, Mike comes home, and Aisha got people over the house. She didn't have the party anyway. The mother is dancing. She having a good time, I will say. But, you know, Mike blows up and puts everybody out. And he don't, apparently, I don't know what happened with Jelly, but I think he said Jelly is homeless at this point. But there is no Francis, so we all know Francis, it gotta be he in jail when he did. So, anywho, after that fight, though, he goes back to the shop. Mike is with him. No, before they get to that fight scene, when they was in the restaurant talking, Francis was like, you never wondered about our dad? I got his information. I know where he stay. And so Mike was like, no, I don't want to even go because I don't want to know. Like, he might not be welcoming to us. Like, he might not even want to see us. And so they get in the car, and Francis drives out there anyway. They go to the building, buzz the thing, and call and say it's so and so. And the father says something like, I'm not coming down, or you got the wrong number. Like, he hung up on them. Basically, I don't want nothing to do with y'all. So, they hurt, especially Francis. They get in the car. And they go, Francis drop Mike back home with the groceries. And they hug it out or whatever and go about their business. So it all culminates to the scene with, like I said, the police been accosting them and keep doing stuff to them. And Francis' whole fear is, I don't want to die in this place. Like, I want to get out of here, right? So when he leaves the house and goes to the barbershop, Mike is with him at the barbershop. They good in the barbershop. He's sitting down with Lavelle and they like trying to clean him up and get him together. Here come the police coming in there. And again, Francis is super overprotective. We seen a scene where the police went to touch Jelly one time. And he was like, don't touch him. And this happened again at the barbershop. He already been beat up really bad. Needs to be seen by a doctor. But he stands up to the police like, what did we do? Don't. And they went to go touch. And they was like, sit down, sit down. And he was like, no, tell me what we did. Why you keep coming in here bothering us? What did we do? Next thing you know, they went to touch Jelly. And Francis yells, don't touch him. And when he did that, the cop pulled his gun out, shot Francis. Francis dies. And we see the funeral. And guess who at the funeral? The father who wouldn't come down the steps. Raggedy. Just fucking raggedy. So, after Francis's death, a few years later, Aisha gets a scholarship to go off and leave and go to college, which is what she does. The father moves away and goes somewhere. I don't know if he moved back to Jamaica or not. But the father has died, and that's what brought her back. To come and see Mike and see the old neighborhood and everything. We finally see a scene where like throughout the movie, the mother been doing weird things like leaving the house with no shoes on. Like she legit lost it when Francis died. She lost it. I noticed that she skipped the subject when Aisha was talking about how father showed her around their old land in Jamaica and everything. They came across, I guess, some area that Francis and Mike's mother lived in, is familiar with. Something happened, but they just didn't go into it. But something happened because she just got like, she kind of like went and was like changed the subject and stuff like that. But we saw throughout the movie that she had lost it mentally after Francis's death. And the movie ends up being where Mike kind of like make amends with Jelly. Jelly goes on about his life. We see that Aisha is gonna go on about her life, and he is there. Mike is there, stuck, basically never leaving, stuck in the same place, just continuous to take care of the mother. We do see a scene where she ends up, like they had found her walking down by that ravine with no shoes on and stuff. She was in the hospital. They go get her out of the hospital and stuff like that. But like to me, she's not showing no room of improvement or whatever. And it was just like we see the scene where that we saw at the beginning of the movie. The movie ends with them two meaning Mike and Francis, making it to the top of that electrical tower and just sitting there. And when they get to the top, they can see their whole community and like fall off into the distance. And he just basically talking to them about keeping hope alive and trying to do what you can do to get out of this environment. Don't get stuck here. It's basically what they talking about up on top of there. And it's like we see that and see that he's Francis end up stuck there and Mike is still stuck there because he at the movie's end he's still there. He didn't leave. Like I said, It was alright. It was an alright movie, but it was super long and drawn out. Long and drawn out. And it was a tragedy because poor Francis. And I say poor Francis, but that's so many people's reality. At least he had the foresight to think of ways that he possibly could get out, but he just never got out. It's like the movie 50 Cents, Get Rich or Die Trying. It's like Get Out or Die Trying, basically. Yeah, I give this movie like I give it like a 3.5 out of 5. The acting in it was good, but it was just so sad and long, dry, and drawn out. Long, dry, and drawn out, in my opinion. Will I watch it again? Nope. Once was enough. Once was enough for me, but I'm sure I'm going to see Aaron Pierre and some more stuff because he's a really good actor. Just from Brother and from Rebel Ridge, I can see he gonna be something. He about to be. I wouldn't be surprised if they made him a Bond man, like James Bond. He can be that. Ooh, you know what? I would like to see him as a villain because both characters, Rebel Ridge, he was not the villain. He was the good guy trying to right some wrongs, and Brother, he was just the older brother trying to protect the younger brother and put on that facade like he's so big and strong and he tough. He ain't scared of anything. I would like to see him play a villain. I think he could be a really good villain, if you ask me. I'm looking forward to see where his future goes. And so, and the guy who played the younger brother, he a good actor. I hope he gets some more jobs, cause he a good actor. I'll give him that. But alright, y'all, this is it. I see y'all. Y'all see me with I got my workout stuff on, cause I've been trying to work out not every day, but I think I'm going to start trying to make sure I do something every day, even if some days it's something that's only like 10 to 15 minutes, because I'm trying to build up my endurance and stuff like that, because I'm going on a cruise in a few months, and I'm guessing the cruise ships are big and it's a lot of walking, and I don't want to be getting breathless and out of breath during the walks and stuff like that, and walking through the airport to go get to the cruise ship and stuff. That don't feel good. It already is embarrassing to say, can I get I need a seatbelt extender on Southwest, but somebody told me that Southwest seatbelts are cut small anyway, so I shouldn't feel bad. I don't know. What do y'all think? Like, if y'all have flown Southwest and some other airlines, y'all let me know. But did y'all see this movie before? If so, what did you think of it? Tell me. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.